This episode is brought to you by Safety Wing. Today on the Cost of Living Abroad pod, we're diving into the neon-lit, beer-soaked underbelly of Chiang Mai, Thailand with Nolan, an ex-programmer turned lady bar owner. He made nearly $20,000 a month from his first bar before losing it all in a classic Thailand flameout. But he's back with a second bar, smarter, sharper, and willing to spill every hard-earned lesson about what it really takes to run a lady bar in Thailand. Welcome to the Cost of Living Abroad pod. I'm super excited to talk to you today. I know you own a lady bar in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and I've watched a bunch of your videos on YouTube. So I'm really excited to share with my audience basically your cost of living, everything you've gone through to set up not one, but two different lady bars in Chiang Mai, and kind of to hear the struggles, the pros and cons, and what it's actually been like for you to leave home, relocate to Thailand and start a business.
Oh, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much.
What are some of the biggest hiccups, the roadblocks?
The number one thing with the first bar was being on eye to eye, like having the same vision as my partner with where the bar was going to go. And so we had a different idea of how the bar was going to move forward. And that's kind of where we came to heads. And so we ended up having some issues. At the end of the day, the biggest problem is always going to be coming to staffing, because staffing is going to be what makes or breaks your business here, especially a lady bar. Like, there's a big misconception with the lady bars that if you just have the hottest girls in the world working in the bar, you're going to do great. When it's like, I had really hot girls working at the other bar, but the big thing for slow season is that you need people who want to keep coming back. And so these girls have to know that they need to make friendships with these guys, not romantic, but just like relationships with these guys, so that they'll want to come all the time. They'll want to come to the bar every week. Because a lot of these guys live here, and I see it all the time now. Like, I see guys, and they'll go around the area. They'll go to one bar, see a girl they know there. Then they'll go to another bar, they know a girl there. Then go to another bar, they know a girl there. And then they'll go home. And so it's like, you want to get in that rotation with your bar, in no easier way to say it. So it's like, it's about creating that friendship with these customers. Because I think, especially in Chiang Mai, the Chiang Mai bar scene is a lot different than, say, the southern ones. So it's like, you have to have a bit of a different mentality, but like, you have to have the staff that are willing to do that and that understand that kind of relationship that they need to have. Because, at the end of the day, the people are going to make your business here. It's simple as that. Like, if you don't have the good people, your business is not going to do well.
Okay. So let's talk about that. Cause I know we've talked a tiny bit about this before, but I think the biggest misconception about lady bars in Thailand, in Southeast Asia, is that it's just 100% sexpats, Westerners, right? It's only foreign, Western, old white guys, sexpats, passport bros looking for prostitution.
Yeah.
And I think it's way more nuanced than that, for better or worse. So, you tell me about your take and your own experience on that sort of stereotype or idea of what a lady bar is.
Yeah, there's definitely guys who do come for that. And 100% that does exist. But I don't think it's the majority. Like, especially up here in Chiang Mai, like, we don't have the number of bars they do in Pattaya and Bangkok. And we don't have the number of girls working in these bars. So it's like, up here, there's probably like 30 bars-ish in the boxing area. Maybe another 20 along the street that are lady bars. And that's it. That's it in the whole city. So the market is so much smaller. And so, like, I've seen guys who have the mentality of the sexpat, and they'll come and they'll walk by the bar and they'll signal a girl to come out and be like, "Oh, you bar fine." And she's like, "No." Because a lot of the girls who work in Chiang Mai, number one, the mama-sans or the managers won't let them just leave during the middle of the shift because they need them to be working. And number two, a lot of them, like, they don't go with customers at all. Yes, there'll be some girls in some bar in a bar maybe that will, but not every girl in every bar will go with the customers. There's a lot of different reasons why girls maybe they even prefer to work in Chiang Mai, is because they're allowed to do that, right? Like, a lot of girls have families and they're simply sending money back to their family. They're supporting their families, or maybe they're, they have a kid and same thing, right? But there are the ones that will be the party girls. But I think, especially in Chiang Mai, it's not as often. Whereas, like, in Bangkok and Pattaya, you've got this insane number of bars, and each bar has like 20 or 30 girls. And so I do think it's more prevalent down there because you're just going to have the competition of if you don't go with customers, then they're not going to come to your bar. So I think it might be a bit of a different case, but I still think like there is nuance to it. I think a lot of the time it's blown out of proportion where it is still the girl's choice. It's not like it's not her choice.
Yeah, I think there's also I mean, it's of course it's financial, it's transactional. The
Yeah.
same way if you're at home at a corporate bar in Toronto or New York, sorry, like the waitress is flirting with you because that's her job, right? Like regardless of anything else, that's her job. It's transactional. You're sitting there and a paying customer, and that employee is being paid, and that makes it a professional relationship. But I do think that there's like the original statement you're saying, what I think of too is that like how much of it is like the cheers thing, right? Like, so it's not just like the one night in Bangkok sex tourist expats or whatever, but like real actual expats, like the majority of my audience, they're older guys, not all, but most of them are single. And even if they aren't single and they're dating a local woman or married to a local woman, they just want to go out and meet other people, including other guys and other expats, right? They're looking for community, for making friends, for relationships. And I think a huge part of that is that like literally just like wanting to go somewhere where everyone knows your name, right? Like wanting to go to, sounds corny, but I really think it's true.
I do think that's what I think I love about Chiang Mai and why a lot of guys do move up here for the long-term expats is that, even if you want to go to Loic Road and sit with a girl, there's no like expectation that anything more is going to happen. Maybe you just want to go with your buddies, have a good looking girl on your arm, buy her a couple drinks, have a good night. She'll increase the party level. Your friends will have fun, and then you go home. Like it's nothing lewd or anything seedy. It's a nice environment. All the girls are friendly. It just increases the atmosphere, right? But it definitely is something that like it is a bit different.
We'll talk later about YouTube and the social media aspect of it, but part of it is that people don't realize the actual whatever, the algorithm, the thing, it creates sensationalism, right? Sensational headlines, sensational viral clips on a video. Whereas like, sure, like maybe I've been making content nonstop for 7 years. It's just one or two clips that go viral and people associate with that. And I think there's the same thing about, like nightlife in Thailand, right? Someone pictures nightlife. Maybe they think like, oh, I saw a YouTube video of someone getting beat up, or they saw a YouTube video that's like, a walking tour, but it's actually of like a 100-meter strip of Pattaya that, 90% of people don't live on. And I do think even here in Vietnam, I think there's a reputation that Thailand has a sort of scary or dangerous or seedy nightlife. So do you feel safe there, both as an expat, as a business owner? I use Safety Wing's Essential Plan every time I travel around Southeast Asia to film this show. And not just for medical stuff. You also get up to $500 per luggage item lost, $3,000 if your checked luggage disappears, $5,000 for trip interruptions. I mean, this stuff can come in super handy if my camera equipment or recording gear goes missing, or if I get stuck and have to reschedule an episode. And if there's travel delays, they do cover you for up to $100 a day in your hotel. And this is on top of all the medical insurance. If it sounds good to you, use this QR code over my shoulder to sign up now, or check the link pinned in the comments and at the top of the descriptions for this episode. I mean, you literally said you had a falling out with your old Thai partner, but how was that? Is it scary? Is it actually safe? What's it like, right? You're in the seedy, dangerous.
That was the one thing that like my family was worried about when I said I was first going to come over here. But Thailand is very, very safe. And I even saw a couple weeks ago that Chiang Mai was rated the safest city in Asia. So there is that mentality, but like I've never felt in danger. The only time you're gonna have issues I find in Thailand is when you mess with local people businesses or something like that, or disrespect cultural heritage. Because if you're gonna be that kind of guy, you're gonna run into issues. But if you're just living a normal life, like Thai people have been nothing but generous and helpful in any situation I've been in. I've never felt in danger here at all. As for my ex-partner, that was not an issue at all. Like, we had our disagreements and stuff, but it wasn't a problem. It was just, we ended amicably, like us, like any business relationship, right? Maybe if I had not, got out of there when I did and I'd fought her more, maybe then we could have ended on bad terms. But she's still a friend of mine today. Like I still talk to her now. We just had different visions of where we wanted the bar to go and what we thought would be the most successful way to move the bar forward. And so that's why we kind of ended that partnership. So.
And what about I presumably your old partner, I can't remember, is bilingual, right?
Yeah.
How has your experience been both as a business owner and just living as a long-term expat in Thailand? Have you started to learn Thai? Do you struggle with it? Are you just completely, you tell me about the language barrier experience.
Oh, I struggle with it. I'm trying, but yeah, I need to learn. That's one of my biggest priorities, but I haven't learned it yet. I've lucked out in that a lot of the people I work with, even the girls that work in my bar, half of them like speak English. So it's like, it is pretty nice in that regard, but I do definitely have to learn Thai. It's key to running a business here because that is one of the detriments is like the girls are talking in Thai and you don't know what are they actually saying. Do I have to put a speaker up here and try to record to decipher what they're trying to say? But that is something that's definitely a priority. And if like hope moving forward, I definitely need to make that more of a priority. Just been between juggling the bar and YouTube and trying to build the business, it's been put on the back burner for now.
What about I'm just thinking about my own experiences here in Vietnam and where the sort of like the biggest pain points are with language, and it's with the bank or healthcare usually, right? Like those are the times when I'm sort of like most like I'm scared, I'm stressed out, I'm like, I want to be somewhere where I actually understand what people are talking about. It's like health or money are my two biggest like language stress factors. So how has it been both your experience both at Thai banks and then maybe second after that with healthcare stuff?
That's been a big challenge in the banking. Like luckily enough I don't have to do too much, but it is definitely a challenge. Google Translate is definitely your friend, but I find here there are quite a few people who do speak a little bit of English, or at least broken English, so you can get by. When I did have some medical issues a couple years ago, and I used the Bangkok hospital here in Chiang Mai, and I didn't have any issues, so that was pretty nice. But the one thing I do have issues with is like I just had some construction work done on my bar, and they messed up. But because they can't understand English, like it's trying to communicate with him, it was just he knew nothing. So even when I put it in Google Translate, I was still struggling. So then I tried to make a booth, and I said it has to be this wide for the couch that's going between it, and they made it the wide minus the wall, so the couch actually didn't fit. So I had to buy more things and change stuff around, and yeah, so it definitely is a challenge.
I don't think there's any magic bullet for that. I think it's just you start with your first 100 words, whether it's Bahasa, Thai, or Viet. After you get your 100 words, you try and work up to 500 words and just, set yourself a regular schedule for learning. What about Thai culture in general? What are some of the things you talked a little bit about the timing and the HR stuff, but just in your personal life in adapting from, living in sub-zero northern British Columbia, a hot, humid Buddhist culture in Thailand? What are the things you've learned culturally?
Well, the Thai people, like it's funny because they always say that the Canadian people are the nicest people in the world, but I don't know. I think Thai people would put them a run for their money because they're such a nice people. The holidays can be challenging though because especially running a business, you never know when you have to be closed or when you have to be open because we have to close for all the Buddhist random holidays, so that can be frustrating. But no, the culture is very nice. The nice thing about Thailand is everything is so available, everything's so easy, everything is open for you. And I think that kind of leads to like the Buddhist mentality of like seize the day or live every day to the fullest. The one weird thing to me though is like Thai people don't like to keep savings. I don't know if that's a generality or that's just the ones I've met, but it seems like once they have the money, it's gone. That might be the same thing with that Buddhist mentality, but it's been nice. The biggest challenge for me living here is the heat because like I'm a Northern Canadian boy. Like I've gone through winters in a t-shirt and a vest, and it's been a bit of a challenge to deal with the heat. That's for sure.
How do you find things like, just your basics, getting around, driving a motorbike, presumably?
Chiang Mai is their second or third biggest city, but you can still drive here. The roads are not crazy. I know Thailand has a bad reputation for driving and accidents, but so far I haven't really found it to be an issue. Like the roads here are so beautiful. Like even once you drive into the countryside, you'll have these winding roads through small villages that are perfect pavement. And like traffic can be crazy, but it's not insurmountable. Like I think if I was living in Bangkok, I don't know how comfortable I'd feel driving a motorbike just because it is what I see and it's just insanity. But like here, it's very manageable. I have a motorbike that I drive around, and there's no issues. Like I drive to work every day, and I drive around wherever I need to go, and there's never really been an issue. And everything's so close too, relative to what I'm used to.
What's it cost you to have a motorbike?
I'm still renting, and it's 2,000 baht a month, so it's really not that much. And then gas is maybe 300-400 baht a month. Like it's very, like it's almost negligible.
What would you be paying, or what were you paying back home? Car payments, insurance, gas, all in.
And I didn't have car payments, but like I had a car, and it was probably like insurance. I think was like 150 bucks a month or something like that. And then gas, yeah, like gas is so expensive, easily 400 or 500 bucks a month. So
Talking about, maybe 10%, right? Like what you're paying in Thailand to get around is 10% of the transportation you cost back home.
Well, especially Canada, like when I was working, there's no problem with me just driving to work for the day for like an hour and a half. And then like working for the day and then drive another hour and a half. So it's just like...
My experience in Toronto, when I think about why I don't want to ever go back home to North America, to Canada, to Toronto, long term, I think about when I was commuting to downtown Toronto on the train, and it was like, it's dark when you're walking to the train in the morning. You know, maybe it's snowy, slushy too. It's literally like pitch black. You're getting on a train just like crammed like a sardine with all the like the layers, the jacket, the toque, the hats, the scarf. Everybody's like wet, grumpy, tired, cold, packed in like sardines. And then, 8 hours later, you're doing the same thing again. Yeah. I mean, Toronto Transit, I think, is very affordable. It's like $100 a month or something for one of those passes. Maybe it's $200 now.
Yeah.
But the actual experience of it, right? The thinking like, holy shit, 2 hours, an hour and a half, 2 hours of my day, 5 days a week spent doing that.
It's not worth it, that's for sure.
If you're going to do it all again, leave Canada, make the big leap, the move to Thailand, what's something you would do differently this time? If you had a go over, a take two.
Go over, take two, hey? I'd start YouTube sooner, because how powerful YouTube has been. Even if I didn't open a bar, I did open a bar, I opened something else. The how powerful YouTube has been for my business is just, I didn't think it would be that much, but like I have people coming in to see me, 3-4 days a week to come and see me in the bar and buy drinks with the girls. So it's like, that has been a really big thing for me. And I definitely start that sooner. And I probably wouldn't open the first bar with the other girl just because how it went. But, I think I probably would open a smaller bar off of the main strip just because, the thing with my bar is like, so I paid 20,000 baht a month for rent. And all that upfront costs that we talked about before. But like you can easily get a bar where you just have to pay 2 months damage deposit and first month rent, and you're in the bar. So you can pay 30,000 baht and you can open a bar.
Wait,
so it's like...
are you saying $1,000 US?
Yeah, and you can have a bar.
That's 921.
Yeah.
Are you serious? You legitimately think there's... So, I mean, and if anyone's watching and wants to open a bar in Thailand... Olin can literally help you out with it. So obviously his socials, everything's linked below. Get in touch with him. But for people watching and listening right now, explain to me again in slow motion. If I move to, whatever, my wife leaves me because she's annoyed with me YouTubing too much tomorrow. I'm like, okay, screw it. I'm going to move to Chiang Mai. I know there's great international schools. I have friends who've taught there. I bring my kids. I promise I have $921 in my bank account. What are the steps I go through to open a bar in Chiang Mai for under $1,000?
There's bars like over by the Night Bazaar that it's just a bunch of bars in this little tourist area. Like they're probably no bigger than this room. They're very small, but you just call the number up. They'll have a bunch of them are sitting empty. Call the number up. They're just an empty shell of a room. It'll be 2 months damage deposit, first month rent. They'll be around 10,000 baht. They vary. They can even be less. They could be 5,000 baht, to be honest. Some of them depends on the location. So like you can rent a bar for nothing here. Some depends on the place, right? And then you just have to kit it out with your fridge and your bar top. And if you can fit a pool table in there, great. And then buy some alcohol, and you're off to the races.
I mean, I love how supportive you are because honestly, listening to you right now, in my head, I'm like, I gotta get the fuck out of Vietnam and go to Bar in Chiang Mai. It'll be my vanity project on top of YouTube, where just I can host my weekly hangouts. I wouldn't. Oh man, I'll literally call it Cheers. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I own a lady bar. You can too for $1,000. Tell me about your YouTube experience. Like, how did you start? How did you get into YouTube?
So my buddy, again, the one who brought me out to Chiang Mai, he's a big YouTuber, and he kind of, when I was opening the bar, he said, like, you need to do YouTube. And so when I opened that bar, I decided, okay, I'm going to be doing YouTube. The big problem for me, especially with that bar, was, like, consistency. Because that bar, I would be there from, like, I'd get to the bar at 5 p.m., and I'd be there until 5 a.m. a lot of the time. Like, we stayed open late, that bar. That's why we made good money. But, like, it was hard to, and I was working a software job still at that point during the day. So it was hard to do YouTube. So I wish I could have been more consistent. And I think if I had been more consistent, my YouTube would be even higher than what it is now. Kind of get things done. But the thing I love about YouTube, and I know we talked about this before, was that like it's not just like a vapid vanity project that the hot girls and the chads can do well. It's something that, like, if you lean into the psychology behind how people think and how you can phrase the video, how you can word a title to create that curiosity gap, to make the viewer think about what you're actually trying to talk about. And then also, you can't just make that and then not deliver. You can't say something crazy and then have the video about nothing else, because then it's just people are going to click off of it, and then YouTube will just kill your video. So what I've found, and what people have told me too, which is the really nice and really rewarding part of YouTube, is that like I've always tried to be, authentic and just tell people the truth. Try not to be too flashy. Try not to like be like sensationalizing what's going on, and just tell people how it is to actually be here. The viewers appreciate that. I think especially with this advent of AI and all the faceless ChatGPT created videos that all say the same thing, people want something that's more authentic. They want a true experience rather than just like, garbage, more just like stuff that's just going to tell them what everybody already knows. So, having that authentic experience of being able to do that has been it's been really rewarding. That's probably like the most rewarding part, is people like appreciating it and, and coming to you with that. My big viral video has a bit to do with bars, but it has to do with the bar girls and the lies they tell you. And so, like, it was before I was just talking about my day in the light, like, here's what happened at my bar, here's what happened at my bar, it's like, I maybe not broadened it, but did a bit of an offset onto, like, the things that people care about around bars. And that's, the girls in the bars, lifestyle, my bar itself, so it's like more just making it more of a well-rounded niche.
What do you think the next step is for your life in Thailand, for the bar, for the YouTube, the whole thing? Like, what are your plans maybe for the membership or the community you're building? What are your plans for the rest of 2025 and on?
I'd like to build out this membership, this bar membership. I'm going to Phuket tomorrow, so we'll see what happens there, because that'll kind of be the first step.
What are you doing in Phuket?
A guy's flying me out to Phuket to get my advice on his bar and maybe partnerships. So we'll see. I'm not too sure what he has a bar already, but he wants my help in setting it up. So I will see what he exactly is thinking. But I'm only going there for the night, so yeah, so it should be interesting. But I'd like to set something up like that, because I think, and I'd like to build some courses, because I think, like I said before, there's such an information gap, but also there's things that I simply cannot talk about on YouTube without causing issues for myself and for YouTube too. So it's like, I would rather just have a course where I can direct people to, if they want to get like a full details, A to Z on how to actually open a bar in Thailand, everything you need to know, build something like that out that can give this information. Because like I said before, like when I opened my first bar, I was kind of flying blind, having to just, have my partner do everything, and I just kind of like followed along, which is obviously not a good idea if you if you want to be successful. I was lucky enough that she was above board, but there's a lot of guys that could be taken advantage by something like that. So I want to make sure that people are properly educated on how, if they do want to do this, if they can.
Yeah, I think that's interesting too, what you said about things you can't talk about on YouTube, because I made a video that was similar, but it was like a little bit more edgy, right? Like about stuff. Actually, that actually happened a couple times. One was about Vietnam and one was about Thailand and Bangkok, and they're about that, about like nightlife and culture and some of the things. And the reason I made them was because my audience was asking. Guys were asking me questions about certain things, about nightlife, about dating, about whatever. We're not going to talk about it here for exactly this reason. I had 2 videos in about 6 weeks get demonetized. That's why I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm building my own website and taking it private, because you're so right. Like there are certain things, I have real information and real answers that I would love to share with people, but they don't belong in the comments section on YouTube. You can't necessarily put them in a video because they're too valuable, or they'll get you demonetized, or they're not for general consumption, right? Like they're not for the public. Let's do a last question and then I'll do a wrap up. So my last question is, what's something I didn't ask you today on the Cost of Living Abroad pod that I should have asked you, or I could ask for my next guest?
My main thing, I guess, would be like the variability, because like we talked a little bit about, how much you spend on food and stuff, but like a lot of guys do want to come here and they want to spend the $50 or whatever, the budget backpackers, the $500 a month. And I think there is a possibility. A lot of people think that's not possible anymore, but it definitely is. You can go out in Thailand and in Vietnam as well, and I could eat a meal for 30, 40 baht every meal and spend 100 baht a day on food. But like you were saying earlier, like it depends on where you're wanting. Like I'm fine with doing that, but sometimes you want to go and you want to have some comfort food. Sometimes you want to go and have a pizza or have something that's more Western, which can skew it out of proportion. So I think there's the both ends, because like Thailand, same thing. Like you could easily spend a couple thousand baht a day on food if you wanted to. But like, and that's a nice thing, but I think people still think you can't be the budget guy anymore. They think Thailand's gotten way more expensive, and maybe a bit, but in the grand scheme of things, it's all about like what you want. I only spend 500 baht a day because, go for a couple coffees, there's 100 baht of coffee, and then you eat one meal for a couple hundred baht, and there you go. So it's like, I think that's the big misconception still, is that Thailand's gotten so much more money, or more expensive rather.
You know what? I think that's a great way to end it, because I feel like the exact same way about Da Nang. Everyone is complaining about this one tiny little area, which is blowing up. And it's just blowing up because there's now high demand for something that has a small or limited availability. Vietnam is a massive, incredible country of 100 million people. Thailand is absolutely massive. The whole Southeast Asia region, you could spend decades traveling around here. And I promise, if you still want to get by on $500, $1,000 a month in Southeast Asia, absolutely you can.
Yeah.
Nolan, thank you so much for coming on. It's nolanjacks.com. I'll put his website here. I'll link to his.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for watching this week's episode of the Cost of Living Abroad pod, brought to you by Safety Wing Nomad Insurance. You can find more episodes of the pod over my shoulder, or check out thecostoflivingabroad.com right here.